You- Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of District Heights Work Session Meeting. It is Tuesday, April the 23rd, 2024. April 23rd, 2024, Tuesday, and it is 7:01 PM, and I call this meeting to order. First item is the approval of the agenda. Could I get a motion to approve the agenda for this meeting, April the 23rd, 2024? Could I get a motion?
Vice Mayor Harcourt, move to approve tonight's agenda.
Could I get a second?
Commissioner Janifer, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 to approve the agenda. Third item is information items, and number 2 is the Ethics Committee bylaws review. And we have, so just state your name.
Susan Clark, Chair of the Ethics Committee.
Good evening.
Good evening. Can I give a few comments? Okay. Well, good evening, Mayor and Commission. On behalf of the District Heights Ethics Commission, I respectfully submit to you our bylaws, approved by the members on March 12, 2024. The Commission agreed early on that drafting our bylaws should be its first priority, although to be honest, we had no idea where to start. So I began by searching the websites of other municipalities for samples of their ethics bylaws. Of those I was able to find, I noticed that they all appeared to have been adopted in 2013, and they were all exactly the same. I'm assuming that they had received a template from a single source, which I was unable to identify. Among those I found, the City of Aberdeen's were more detailed in that they had added to theirs the method for holding ethics hearings. So we began with Aberdeen's bylaws as our template, adapted for District Heights. In Section 4, Duties, we expanded the template by including the specific duties of the Ethics Commission as delineated in the city's Code of Ethics, Article 16, Section 1602B, Duties. Section 5 of our bylaws outlines the procedures for holding meetings, including how they shall be conducted and that they adhere to the Open Meetings Act regarding public notice of the time, place, and agenda of its meetings. Sections 7 through 12 describe how to conduct hearings of reported ethics violations. The actual procedures for holding a hearing are much more extensive and detailed and will be drafted by the Commission in the near future, along with an ethics complaint form. The final Section 13 requires that the Ethics Commission review the bylaws annually, which can be amended by majority vote at any time. The Ethics Commission hopes that these bylaws and subsequent documents serve as our legacy to the city and future members of the Ethics Commission to ensure that the indiscretions of the past are never repeated or, at a minimum, immediately addressed and rectified. I did notice on the cover of the submission letter that the bylaws will be forwarded to the attorney for review. A draft of the bylaws was emailed to him on February 16th for his review, and it indicated that we wanted to adopt them at our meeting on March 12th. On March 4th, a reminder email was sent asking if the attorney had had the opportunity to review the draft and our intention to adopt the March 12th meeting, at the March 12th meeting. We've yet to receive a reply. With that, hopefully I can answer any questions you may have now or in the future concerning the bylaws. Thank you. And please, don't forget to submit your financial disclosure forms by Friday.
I turned mine in.
I saw that, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a comment. I just want to say, well done. That was great work. I mean, looking at this is really extensive and well-written. Thank you guys for this. This is very helpful as well. as a former member of that commission, we definitely did not have this, so. So, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I know we still will have to review them, and there will be a discussion on the bylaws. Okay, Ms. Clark, thank you for that. So next, we have the Charter Committee Article 3 revisions.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Clerk, and residents. My name is Ron Waters, and I stand before you tonight as the current Chair of our Charter Committee. The committee was formed in 2018. With the pandemic and other various reasons, there has been delays. And it is now time to present you Article 3. Our objective is to bring our charter current to the times and into the future. Hopefully you have had time to review Article 3 as presented. We welcome your input. Thank you.
So did you want to discuss your revisions?
We can take some input, yes. I have other members here with me tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Waters, for these revisions. They're quite extensive. Do you mind just maybe speaking to some key revisions that the Charter Committee prioritized, or something that you think is a priority that we would want to hear about?
Well, first, if you look at the beginning of the charter, it states City of District Heights. We went through the entire charter and changed that to Incorporated City of District Heights. People don't realize it, but that's very important because of our mailing zip code. Everybody with 20747 thinks they're in District Heights, and it's different. Of importance, pretty much everything that we highlighted. Be honest with you, to pick one out, I really couldn't stand here and say that at this point. Again, you know, we've worked on this thing for a while, back and forth, back and forth. This is not the only article that we've completed to our satisfaction, but again, your input is welcomed and needed.
Madam
Any
Mayor,
other questions or comments?
I do. if you
Sure,
would.
Vice Mayor.
So I had some questions about the term limits. So I understand the idea about term limits, particularly when it comes to larger government entities. But when you have a smaller government entity like ours, I don't know how effective they would be, particularly when we don't have a deep bench of people who may want to serve. In those instances where we don't have a lot of people who want to step up. So that's just a little bit concerning to me. We don't have a lot of young people who are coming in who may want to pick up the banner and continue.
Right.
So that's just a little bit troubling to me. But I do understand.
Excuse me, could I have some order? He's speaking. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so I understand the idea behind it. I just maybe
Well-
I think some good language may be to even have some type of pause, or maybe you could do a different role in government. Because I think even looking at some of the committees, we do have a lot of people who serve on the committees, and we need them. Otherwise, some of the committees in our government wouldn't function.
Right.
If we didn't have some of these people who hold up the government. We have, people in this city that actually, they literally run this community.
All that you said,
Yeah,
we totally agree. But living in the past of stagnant administrations, we don't want that again.
understood.
We don't want that again. So what we're presenting can be tweaked, but this is what we felt would make the city get to the next step.
I understand.
You know, we need some type of controls. I always say laws are made to be enforced, but if it's not broken, we can go with it. But we don't want what we had back then.
Understood. I just think
I
that
get
we
you.
can- If
We-
we
we-
could figure out some type of way to, given what we have now, if we can figure out a way, I don't know how we can get younger people to get involved. I don't see a path.
That's a
forward.
job.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
is
job.
a job.
It's a job.
So what I find with a lot of municipalities is that they don't have a budget to pay full-time elected officials, like our county council. Because even when you look at our state delegation, they don't get paid as much as our county council people. So in order to get that commitment, it is hard because people look at the time, the reading, putting time into this, even though they love to be a public servant. But when you just start thinking about your resources, your financial resources, it becomes very difficult for people to do that. But I know we have to move forward, but that's just one item that I don't ever think we'll be able to fix, is make sure that elected officials get paid enough to just do this job.
Well, I don't think our statement addresses pay per se.
No, I know,
It's about stagnant.
yeah,
Stagnant.
I
We need
understand.
to propel, we need to move. We need to move.
I
We're here
understand.
now because we hadn't been moving.
right.
And Vice Mayor and Mayor, you're telling me, as a member of every committee, I was here this morning in the meeting, I'm here tonight, I'll be back tomorrow. I understand, but we have to collectively do something, and we have to set parameters to protect those that are in office. So again, your input, we welcome it. We need that, because you keep looking at that brick wall, you don't see bricks anymore. You end up seeing plaster. So we need feedback.
And I agree with that, and this is important. I like the rigor of these conversations, and with that, and there is a fail-safe to that, and that fail-safe mechanism is voters who come out and they say, when you're not doing the will of the people, the fail-safe mechanism is to vote them out. When you're not serving the will of the people, the committees, say you're not doing what we want you to do. The ethics, we have a strong ethics commission. Now, they put some fail-safes in place. I'm very proud of these committees who are doing the right thing now. We have a commission now we put strong financial controls in place that have never been done before. So what this commission is doing, this commission is doing now, we're putting in fail-safe. So when we walk away from this, if any of us walk away from this now, things that happened in the past, the financial improprieties that happened in the past, they'll never be able to happen again because it will be willful. It will be willful. And so there are people now who know that these things will be willful. They cannot be done. They can't be undone.
Right.
And so now voters will be able to say, look, we know what you're doing, and they can vote these people out. And so we do have a mechanism, and that's the will of the people, the voters. And we're empowered to do something about that. There are no kings. None of us are royalty. None of us are kings and queens, and there are no absolutes. This place is given back to the people. And so that's the way it is. So my issue is that we have a much more complex budget. It's not like the 30s or the 40s or the 50s. We have a much more complex financial structure dealing with millions and millions of dollars with different buckets of money, which is a lot easier to have graft and all of those types of things. And when you have people who are not getting paid, people see opportunities. And so, and so what I'm saying, Mr. Waters, is you have to have people who want to do the right thing because they want to do it.
Well, we totally agree.
Right,
And
and
it's
so-
this is part of our thinking, as well as, just to give you a little background on how we came up with our thoughts. We contacted MML. We solicit other municipalities, not personally, but we looked at their
Yes.
charters, and we mimicked and put in place what we felt would fit with us. So again, your input is welcome. We need to get it done. And now, after X number of years, we have dialogue so we can get it done.
Okay, I agree with that. All right, thank you for that. And I have another question.
Sure, Vice Mayor.
And this is to deal with residency, because I don't know if this is in here. And I don't know, maybe if I should, since we do have the Ethics Commission in here, and this is something that I'm concerned with, is if this is something that that will either be addressed in the Charter Commission or in the Ethics to deal with an annual residency requirement.
It's in the charter.
It'll
Not
be in the
this-
charter?
It's not in this section, but it's in the charter.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Again,
Can I say something?
Come on.
one of the members.
I'm a little lost, and it sounds like you all are lost too. You're jumping from one article to the other. I said, but this Article 3 is about the commission.
It is not about voters, it's not about residents in the city. It's all about the commission, the powers of the commission, the duties of the commission, the qualifications of the commission, the meetings of the commission. I'll just kind of go through a little bit of things, but we kind of tweak some of the sections in here. There's also about closed sessions, work sessions that we kind of tweaked a little bit. Some sections weren't involved in here, but there's nothing, it talks about the mayor, what she does, who she presides over, what the commission's duties are. The vice mayor's duty. I don't think we had anything exactly about, everything about the vice mayor, so we
I
added
noted
something in there
Wasn't nothing there.
for about vice mayor. So you can see in red,
Because
we
it's
wrote,
appointed, yeah.
Yeah.
we wrote that up. Fiscal year, about the quorum, resolutions, procedures of the commission. So all of this is about the commission, guidelines for you all. The other thing about, thinking about the term limitation, like Ron said, we don't want our elected officials to be stagnant and just stay here because they're popular by popular demand. But we also would like for our commissions in the future to mentor other people in the community. If you had 12 years, then it's time for, in my opinion, or in our opinion, when we were thinking about doing this, is
Pull the
try
mic
to,
down.
is try to mentor other community residents, younger people, and bring them forward, because they may have better, younger ideas about leading and governing our government. But this is why we wanted to put in term limitations. We don't want people to be here forever.
Understood.
But that was the main reason, is to get you all to think about mentoring other residents in the community. Are there any other questions?
No, well, I'm fine.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Commissioner Chandler.
You were ready. You were,
Yeah.
One more thing before I leave, go, I know you started talking about residents living here. It's not in this.
Right, I just wanted
Yeah,
to know
no,
if it was.
Yeah, this is Article 3, and it's about commission.
Right.
It's
Right, I
about
just
you
wanted
all.
to know if that was part of the discussion. I'm sorry.
No, yes, but that's in another section.
I understand. I
Okay.
just wanted to know it was part of the charters committee's discussion.
Oh, yes, yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
That's it. I knew it wasn't
Absolutely.
in here. I just wanted to know if
Okay.
it's part of the
Okay.
discussion.
Commissioner Jennifer.
Don't walk away, Ms. Turner.
I'll do my
But I
best.
wanted to ask the chair if you could tell us how, first of all, how many members consist of the charter committee?
Currently, we have 9.
Okay, so that is 9 individuals that have, well, I believe 3 of them are new, but prior to that,
Correct.
6. But so that's a total of 9 right now, that Supreme Court, that are sitting down, looking at our charter, and collectively, you all, I've sat in on a couple of your meetings, and I love the way how you chair the meetings. It's like everyone gets an opportunity to speak and to comment on why they think it should go this way. I just love how this committee works. I know that you all have been at this since 2018. And I'm just floored with all of the additions, with how detailed, because I think that the current charter is very vague.
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
And so you have tightened up on a lot of ways that in the past, folks have been able to get around certain things. So I really do, yes, absolutely. I really do appreciate all the work that you have not lost a member of the charter committee over all this time since
Well,
2018.
yes, we
We lost
have.
one.
You did.
No, we lost 3.
You did.
you
We
Okay.
started in 2018 with 6 members.
Yeah.
We lost 3 between that and before COVID.
Okay.
Right.
And then there were 3 others come on board, Ms. Johnny, Mr. Marshall, and somebody, Stephanie Holland.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they came on, I'm not sure if it was 2019 or 2020. We had so many disruptions,
Back to 6.
but we
What's
did,
the 7?
huh?
That brought us to 7.
Brought us up to 7.
Okay.
Yes.
But through all that time, you continued to work on this.
Yes, we
And
did.
so thank you. I
Yes.
just want to say thank you for all of the hard work. I know it has not been easy. It's been a lot of research, and it is a thankless job, because we didn't pay you, did we?
Not yet.
No.
Check in the mail.
Well, we're doing it because we wanted change, and we know we needed it, and it's been long overdue. So we just didn't want any more abusive, people abusing the charter for self-serving, because we've seen a lot of that. But it's been hard work. It's been a journey, and we're going to continue to be on this until we complete it. So we're almost there.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, we meet once a month.
Okay.
The
Started
second
out
Monday.
Right, started out for an hour, but our meetings go for 2 hours now.
Oh, okay.
And we can spend 2.5 hours talking about shall or thy. Can, will.
That's an example, yeah.
Serious, when you read the 2008 charter, wow,
Yeah,
who wrote this thing?
I know.
And what was their purpose? So we're doing that, and again, MML, the assistance of MML, and other municipalities. This is what we're coming up
And our
with.
own expertise,
Right.
just thinking and talking it out, and then taking a vote. Sometimes we have to
Vote twice.
table things to the next meeting and say, well, let's just give this a rest and come back and do this another time, or move on to something else. So, it's not an easy job. And it seems like we've been there a long time, and it has, but we've had several breaks,
Yeah.
Okay,
okay?
all right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have
Commissioner Gomez
I have
had
two
questions.
questions. So, on the term limits, you mentioned that the committee reviewed a few other municipality charters. I'd be curious, for a municipality of our size, like around 6,000, 7,000 residents, did other charters include term limits? If so, what were they? And then my second question is specific to Section 302. So in Section 302, on the qualifications of the mayor and the commissioners, it states that the mayor and the commission must be residents in the incorporated city. Is it,
Registered voters.
must be a resident in the incorporated, I'm looking at I think this is like the last sentence, I believe.
302?
Yeah, Section
A?
302,
A, okay.
Yeah, it says each commissioner must be a resident in the incorporated city during their term of office. Is it possible for us to, in whatever part of the charter that addresses residency, define what we mean by resident?
That's in another section.
Okay, okay.
Isn't that in, I know what you, I know.
I know what
you're
you're
speaking
saying.
of, yes.
But maybe we need to add in a couple of things, like you have to reside in this incorporated city of District Heights in Ward 1 or Ward 2. That can be added in there, but it's also in Article 5, when you want to be nominated, become a candidate. You have to be, it states again, you have to be a resident for at least 2 years to
Okay.
become a
It
candidate.
does specify.
And it does specify you must live in the ward that you are running for.
It also
yes.
specifies at least
Yes,
homeowner.
we don't need to do all of it. That's in another section though.
Yeah.
But yes, it is in there, but you're asking us to put something in there. In here where it's in detail what it means to be a resident of this incorporated city of District Heights.
Yes, because I'm just thinking, and I don't think we have this issue, I mean, we've changed the way we speak about it now, but resident, you can be a renter, you could be a homeowner, you could just reside with someone, right? So I think, and then we check residency pretty much once, right? So I think that we need some clearer terms of reference on what we define as a resident.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, let me make a suggestion that you email us, because we're not gonna
Can do.
remember this.
Can do.
Okay?
That's why we can start taking very great notes as well.
Just take some, just email us your questions and concerns about this. But, like I said, Article 5 is a section where, in there where if you wanted to run for candidate, you have to have, it is in detail
List
what you
criteria.
need. But that's in Article 5. But if you want something to say you have to live in an incorporated city in Ward 1 or Ward 2, we can certainly add that to this part of the mayor and the commission, the qualifications of the mayor and the commissioner.
Okay. Well, I will await the updates to Article 5 as well. I just want to make sure that it does get covered for the record. I
Yeah,
wanna
the
put it on
Article 5
record.
is, it was already there.
Okay.
You just went in a little more detail about, and the specification of what you need, the requirements, okay? So you would see that when we start to do the, when we present the Article 5,
Yeah, but this
Okay.
looks good, yeah.
okay?
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the commission?
Yes.
Oh,
I have.
Okay.
Commissioner Tillman?
So, thank you for this. One thing that I love is the section 307 where it says the mayor shall not vote. That was kind of my issue before. that, as far as tie breaking. So I think you guys updated it. I know it says shall vote, the mayor shall vote. And I think you guys changed it to shall not vote unless it's a tiebreaker, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and that was, okay, so,
Yes,
yeah, thank you
yes,
for that, because
yes.
that was my concern when I first started, and I was like, had a clarification on that,
We
so.
wanted to make things very, very clear when you read it. You have to go pick it up, and you can't say, well, it doesn't say I can't do this, but it does say that. You shall not vote unless it's to break a tie. That's just one example, but those are the kind of keywords we have to use when we looking at this charter, using those words that say shall and you may, you can do anything.
Yeah.
But you have to specify what you don't, and what you want and what you don't want to happen.
So in a scenario where if it's finances and you need 4 votes, and you don't get 4 votes from your commission, and so you're saying I would have to do a tie, but I can't vote as the 4th person. Is that what you're saying?
No.
It's saying if there's a tie, then you can vote.
But that's a different.
But that's, finances is different, okay?
So what we need from you, from the commission, is to send us that,
Okay,
because that's different from breaking a tie.
okay.
Finances and regular voting, that's a difference. So we have to clarify that.
So you have to specify
Clarify.
outside
Yes.
of finance.
Well, you still need a quorum,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but if there's a tie, you can vote,
yeah.
yes.
okay.
'Cause
Again,
It's in here, it's written.
any input and all input is welcome. And the sooner the better, because we'll be having a meeting soon, and we don't want to look at this too many more times.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to make a new change, and we want to keep moving.
Yeah.
Because you can rewrite and think
Yeah.
of things and keep on rewriting, and you
Right.
never get finished.
So you're saying the meeting is soon. What is our deadline to review this?
What's our next meeting?
The second Monday in May.
Second Monday night.
So we need to have them to you, what, that Friday before that second Monday?
That's fine.
Yes,
What day
Is that-
at least, yes.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
What calendar day is that?
Yeah, we need
Well,
I can't even think what
that
it is.
Friday would be, the 30th is Tuesday, correct?
The 13th.
Jefferson, do you have a calendar?
13th,
Answer is May 13th.
May
13th,
13th.
yes.
May 10th will be that Friday.
Okay.
Correct.
May
Okay.
10th. Okay.
So you have until May 10th?
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So now we have to look at the bylaws for the ethics committee too. So we have a lot of reading. Okay, is there any other questions or comments from the commission? Okay,
Okay.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. Food for thought, we really are starting to think about all of this.
Good discussion.
Okay, number 4 is the DH 2024-03 budget proposal, public hearing.
Oh, do we need to vote on that? Do we need to vote on moving
We need
to
both the
the
table there,
next
right?
meeting?
Oh,
So no, here's that motion to move it to the next,
oh, I didn't see it.
on the bottom it says we have to table to move it to the next
have it.
session. Hold on, I could've sworn I saw something that
Yeah,
says
I
like we
did
had to,
too.
we had
I
to move
don't-
it.
I don't have that.
Let me go back to
Yeah.
this.
So it's an information item. It's an information
We
item.
don't have to vote on
Right,
don't
okay,
have
to.
right, okay.
Okay,
So who wants to get started on the budget hearing? Who's first? I don't have who. So is this the part where, I'm opening up for the public hearing for the citizens to, okay. So this part of the public hearing is for the public. So I'm opening up this hearing for any questions or concerns from the public. So,
We do have public participation, madam.
yeah, okay, so you can come up to the podium and to have your question. Introduce yourself and have your question.
Mayor and Commission,
Good
city
evening.
managers, the clerk, residents, how's everybody doing?
Good evening.
Okay, I was looking at the budget, and I looked at 24 and 25. And one thing I noticed is that the Veteran Park does not have a line item. I also looked at ARPA funds, and I know that the Veterans Park had $50,000 of ARPA funds when that would have been 2022, when I was a commissioner. And I was wondering what happened to that, not to be answered right this minute. Okay, but I'm
Because
just.
I do have an answer.
Oh, okay. And then I also want to know why we don't have a line item. And I noticed that, like the playground, of course, equipment, the bathroom renovation, the chambers update, the Fiesta Place, all of them have line items, all of them have got money. Now, we know with the Veterans Park, we also gonna need a new monument because it stood up the Space Force. So now we have 4, we need 1 more. We know that the landscaping has to be done. We know that we need a sign. This was a project that started at least, 2 or 3 years ago? So I would like to see it finished. I would like to see it maintained. I would like to see that it's in the budget along with Fiesta Place and the playground and the Senior Citizen Center and all the other things. So if you could just answer those 2 for me, I really would appreciate it. One, the $50,000, and why we don't have a line item with some money beside it, okay? And that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. And so, June 13th, 2023, at one of our work sessions, Project Open Space Planning is what we discussed and proposed. So the $50,000 never went away. Oh, I'm sorry. It never went away. You can have a seat. I'm just going to explain to you that the $50,000 did not go away for Project Open Space Planning. Also, we have local funding of $12,500. And then we have the monument that we have to place with that. Then we have the landscaping and some others. So we really want to boost up what this sign is and actually adding on to the monument. So actually, it's going to cost more than $50,000 for the sign and the monument. So that money never went away. It's still there. It's still there. Project Open Space Planning.
And so that's money that we already have, or money that you're
Well,
trying
you
to
remember,
get?
when you were on the commission, we voted in the budget to put that $50,000 there. It never went anywhere.
Well, obviously, I didn't remember, because I'm sure they just asked the question. But my question to you is,
And so remember, when you were the committee chair, you did bid out for the.
The sign.
The sign.
Yes, we did.
Okay. And then after that, Dan retired, so,
it sure did.
so, we knew the money was still there.
So do
but
we get
no-
a line item? How does that work? I'm not
It is-
understanding that process.
It is a line item, but we don't know what that amount will be because of the new monument. So we have to see what that would be in order to add it on, because it's already there.
Okay, is there a way that you can put Veterans Park down in the budget?
When we get the estimate on the monument, we will be, in the landscaping, we will be able to pull all that together. But
the-
don't think that the money's not there. It's
Okay,
there.
but it's no line item. I'm used, when I do budgets and we have money, we have a line item.
Yeah, we
So
do.
whenever the money comes, we can see that the Veterans Park is indeed covered and is
And it will
indeed-
be covered. Remember, this is still a budget hearing. It will be covered.
Okay, well,
This is
good
still a
thing.
budget hearing.
So
We
now-
haven't voted on anything
Okay, so
yet.
now's a good
We
time for
have
me.
not voted on the budget.
So this is perfect then, for me
It
to
is
bring it up
perfect for
right
you to
now,
bring it
right?
up.
This is the perfect
And we
time.
have the paper to prove that the money is there.
Oh, I trust you, believe
Okay,
me.
all right.
Okay, but I just
So-
wanted to make sure that we
Yes.
have the Veterans Park covered
Of
in
course.
the budget.
We are covered.
Okay,
We are
thank you.
covered. You're welcome.
Appreciate
You're
you.
welcome. Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Irvin.
Okay, any other public participation regarding? Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, let me just start. So good evening to my fellow residents, Mayor Miller, the commission. My name is Charlotte Dixon. I live at 6706 Elmhurst Street, and I'm a resident of the city of District Heights. I am here today to object to the proposed real property tax increase. The proposed tax increase will raise homeowners' property tax from .687 to .692 per $100 of assessed value. That means for a home that has an assessed value of $300,000, your rate will increase from an already high $2,061 to $2,071. Although this may not seem like a drastic difference, we at District Heights currently pay the sixth highest real property residential tax rate in PG County. And you could look at www.dat.maryland.gov. I also have a hard copy of that if you want to read through it. That shows that we pay the sixth highest rate already. For comparison, our neighbors in Capitol Heights pay 0.3801, which is well below our current .687. Let alone the proposed .692 rate. Bowie residents pay .4, and Glenardine pays .3338. Again, well below our current rate of .687. So we pay more than double the real property tax rate that Glenardine pays. Additionally, as we all know, residents of Prince George's County pay the second highest county tax rate in the state, second only to Howard County. Therefore, I ask, why the increase? Why burden an already working-class community, many of whom are on fixed incomes, with a tax hike? I find this especially troubling when we see that the city has an increase in revenue, which I heard at the April 9th committee meeting, I should say. So I'm asking that the commission, who are our elected leaders, consider other ways to raise revenues rather than burdening our homeowners who are already heavily taxed. In the alternative, I think maybe consideration for trimming budget for non-essential programs so that we could avoid the real property tax increase is another means of getting the money that apparently is needed, or maybe more so desired. I don't know which one it is. So I just want to thank you all for hearing me today, and I hope you reconsider the proposed increase in real property tax rates for City of District Heights.
Thank you for that.
And I have hard copy submissions if you want.
Now, we have an extensive report on other municipalities, and there are a lot of municipalities have increased even more. So for this commission and things that, big ticket items that we have purchased, we've been using the ARPA funds. But in the past, I don't know if the residents remember, we were always at the constant yield rate, where we would pull our budget together around that. So we never increased, but we kept shaving off. So if you remember, as we moved forward, when we needed new trucks or whatever, we will pull money from the unreserves in order to pay for that. So we were always budgeting backwards. So as we know now, we don't know if this amount would even work for us in 2024 with the inflation. And that's everywhere. So for us, we have to start somewhere, because if we're looking at just doing the basics, is more than what it's been in the past years. Nobody wants to increase taxes, but we have to think about how are we going to move forward, because we never had enough money in our budget, and then we end up pinching off our reserves to buy things instead of putting it up front and voting on it. So it's very important that we do get in a habit of a half a penny to put something aside in case something happens. Because at the end of the day, our ARPA funds are gonna run out. And so we're trying to use those dollars wisely to buy these big ticket items. But we need to start putting something aside where we can stop digging into our unreserved funds.
So, I don't know if you want me to respond. I know as a homeowner that when any tax increase comes, I get a letter from my mortgage provider that says, hey, your tax rate went up, so therefore now we need to charge you X, and you now have, they redo your thing, and now I'm paying more monthly for my mortgage, which is where I live. So I'm trying to point out that, yes, it may not seem like a lot, however, because of how it affects homeowners, it's a big deal. And as I said, which is what my bigger point was, we pay very high taxes already. The 6th highest. Other communities, that's why I use Glenardine, similarly situated, they have about 66,000 residents. They pay half of what we're paying right now. So I just wanted you guys to kind of, I really wanted an answer, to be quite honest, because I didn't see if we were doing well, if we we're getting high revenues, why you need to increase the taxes. And then, my thought was, when I was looking at the budget, because I was like, okay, maybe there's no room in the budget. But then I saw 20,000 for cell phones. I'm like, why do we need 20,000 for cell phones? Maybe y'all could use a Nokia. I don't know. You know, do you have to have an Apple? You know, so I'm just saying, if just like everybody does right now, because things are increasing, you look at your budget, you see ways that you could trim and maintain. Not increase, but maintain. So I would hope that as stewards, that you guys are also looking at the budget and seeing ways that you could trim so that you don't have to pass on the cost to homeowners. So that's really all I came to say. I know it may not change your minds. I mean, you may still do the increase, but I just think residents need to know that on this day, this is what the commission heard, and they still decide to increase your property tax rates. So that when they go to vote in 2 years, 4 years, however many years, and they wonder, hey, where are we paying these high, why are we paying these high taxes? They know that, hey, on this day, these elected leaders that we put in office voted to raise our taxes. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for hearing me
I
out.
appreciate that.
And have a good night.
I appreciate that. Vice Mayor, you have
Don't
a
walk
comment?
away, don't walk away, come back.
Did you want to comment?
I do.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say, for one, this city has done a very poor job of maintaining our city. So what we've been doing, and thank God for ARPA funds, we have horribly deferred maintenance problems. This building is falling apart right now. But there are things that we wanted to do that we cannot do, because if we do it, it will start a chain reaction of problems in this building that we can't fix. So they've built a brand-new building, tied it to a building that needs to be torn down. We can't even repair our bathrooms, because if we do, it'll start all kinds of problems to the building. This building it's past its useful life. This is how bad it is. Our roads, if it wasn't for the ARPA funds, we wouldn't have the money to fix our roads. So now we have a plan that we can start fixing our roads. People want sidewalks. We don't have the money to put sidewalks. So thankfully, with the tax increase, we have a plan where we can start putting in sidewalks so our residents can get out the streets, our children can get out the streets and start walking on sidewalks. But we won't be able to do that. We don't have commercial tax revenue. So some of these other municipalities, they have commercial tax revenue that can defray some of the costs off the backs of the residents. We don't have an attractive commercial tax base or revenue to draw in the types of businesses that we want to come to take some of that pressure off of residents. Sometimes the only way that you can do that is to make it attractive enough for the types of businesses that we want, other than 24/7 tobacco stores. And we don't have control over our zoning. One thing that we found out is that's the county. So we can't, right now, we can't convince them. We can tell them this is what we want, but we're kind of at the mercy of the county. We know what we want to do on Marlboro Pike. We know exactly what we want to do, right? We know what you want, but we're at the mercy of them. So if it was up to us, we'd have cafes, we'd have small art shops, we'd have all of those nice things that, some of these nice boutiques, we'd have all of that. And then we could shift that tax burden onto them. But we can't do that right now. And so in order for us to, fix all of this deferred maintenance that has just been going by the wayside, to make our city safe for our residents, because when those ARPA funds run out, they're gone. And our city is falling apart. And I'm just gonna be honest. I don't wanna move. For one, I can't afford it. If I had to buy my house today, I couldn't afford my house. And so as we age and we see all the people walking, it horrifies me to see our residents walking in the streets. I talk to residents all the time, and one of the biggest complaints is, we need sidewalks. You see residents pushing babies and strollers, and they're in the street. They want sidewalks. We have to pay for that. So when the ARPA funds run out, we have to make a decision on how we're gonna pay for those things. And we can't just stay with the constant yield. And so, the first thing that we ask ourselves is, how are we gonna pay for these things? And I agree with you. Some of these things, we ask, how are we gonna pay for this? So then we look at the things like our cybersecurity. These things, and I know the mayor doesn't want me to talk about this, but some of the things that we have, when we look at, Ms. Dixon, it's a mess. And we have to get into the 21st century, because it's just been deferred maintenance, and people have not been good stewards. They have not been running good government here. And we have to invest to take care of the future. And I know everybody wants to do like off the shelf. We're not there. It's gotten too bad. And so we have to make these investments to protect our residents, to protect our city, and they're expensive investments. And then once we get this investment done, then we can really start chopping down. But we have to make these investments now, and then we can really start. It'll save us money in the long run. It really will. It'll save us money. But again, right now where we are, we're not in a good situation. I'm just being honest with you. We're not in a good position right now to. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. It's not good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for your comment. It's great that this year we started the discussion on budget way earlier. I think we started talking about this in January. And in that conversation that we were having in January, when we were discussing, so first step was we had to give staff a tax yield range to make a budget based on, right? So right now, we haven't voted on anything, but we have to look at something. And so we asked the staff to prepare a budget based on our current tax yield rate and half a penny up. That's why we wanted to start these discussions in January, as we did. When we had that discussion, we did have some resident concern about the half penny up that we were discussing. And I want to be clear, that's that would be an increase of a half penny up on every $100 of assessed value of your home property, right? So that, I just want to make sure that we all understand what that increase would mean. I like to look at real numbers. You know, talk about half penny up, that doesn't really do much for me. So I asked staff to prepare a little experiment, an assessment on what our tax bill would be if we kept the tax yield rate the same, right? So we're not going up, we're keeping it the same based on the valuation, the natural valuation of our home year over year. Staff came back, they prepared an experiment with about 5 properties all throughout the city. So properties closer to Ritchie Road, the houses are a little bit different, properties closer to Marlboro Pike. So we would have a sample size of the different valuations throughout the city. So the first part of that was, if we keep it the same based on our valuation, how much will your bill go up, right? Because naturally that's gonna happen, you have more value. Even if you keep the tax rate yield the same, your bill will still go up. And the second part of that question is, if we went a half penny up in real dollars, what would that mean on our pockets? Because I also own a home here too, so I'm very much invested in what this would mean. And so when that came back to us, what we learned is that if we go up a half penny on every $100 of assessed value, we're looking at about less than a $20 increase on taxes per resident, right? There's a range, it could be $13, it could be $18, but it doesn't hit anything over $20. And so when I got that information, I felt relieved because I thought to myself, a $20 year-over-year increase felt manageable to residents. So, yeah, $20 year-over-year, it felt right, but to me, I thought it could have been $300, right? Because we just didn't know what that looked like. So when we got that information back, I said, okay, a $20 fiscal impact is, I think, reasonable. That's number one. Number two, and Vice Mayor spoke to this, Bowie has a large commercial tax base. They get to take the burden off of their residential homeowners because they have, I mean, multiple main streets and businesses, and I think they're having
They annexed in a lot
They
of
did.
commercial
I also mentioned Glenardine, which is,
and they
Glen Arden?
Yes.
Or- Oh, Glen Arden.
and I
yes,
believe
we
they-
pay double what they pay.
Yes, and I
So,
believe
and
they
they're-
still have a larger, I mean, we have about 4 blocks.
We have 4 blocks.
We have
Yeah.
about 4 blocks of
They got
commercial,
Woodmore.
yeah, and yes, they have Woodmore. So
And
again,
then they have townhomes that they're building.
yes, so they're expanding, and I think we also want to address that, right? And we are addressing that as we plan for economic development, which are conversations that we have had continuously over the past couple of months, right? So the conversation is twofold. We're coming up on our budget planning. We have to vote in a fiscal year 25 budget. We have not raised, since I've been here, we haven't raised the tax yield rate. I understand that prior to me coming here, it had not been raised the year before. It was reduced. That's right, it was reduced. And the current tax rate we have, I think this is the lowest in about 10 years. It's been higher. I mean, it's even been higher than the current proposed half penny up. So with all of that context, understanding why we have been put here, I mean, we've had a former mayor that was indicted by the feds, okay? I think that very much speaks to a lack of fiscal responsibility, right? We have been put here for a specific reason to transform the city. That means we have to make hard decisions because these are tough challenges that we're facing. So I know that nobody wants a tax increase, nobody wants to pay more money, but I also know that we have things that we want to do, right? I mean, everyone, we talk about cutting services. I never want to cut a service. I never want us to have to consider cutting a program. I just don't want to do it. I don't think that we need to do it. I don't think we're in a position that we should have to do that. And even like, you know, Ms. Dixon, you mentioned our cell phones. I mean, if you knew what we were paying in cell phones. We were probably paying triple that amount. So as we have been doing the budget planning, we all look at not only this time, but all throughout the year, we're always looking over our budget and looking for ways that we can cut costs, be more efficient as we modernize. Sometimes those are going to be big ticket items, sometimes we're going to catch a break. But things are expensive. We're going through inflation. $20 up seems reasonable compared to 10 years past when we've been paying a higher tax yield rate. So I'll just leave that there.
Thank you, Commissioner Gomez. Commissioner Tillman, you had a comment?
Yes. First of all, thank you. Your comment is appreciated. Just for the record, I did not support a tax increase at all. I voted to stay at the current rate. So just for FYI, and that's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I respond to the $20 thing? So I will tell you this, personally, this is me. If even it was raised by $1, I would be here. Because I think attaching an increase to my home is a threat to me as a homeowner. So $20 may not seem like a lot, but when I was looking into the data for this city, 16% of the city is in poverty. And I'm not sure how many of those people are homeowners, but that $20 may mean something to them. So so to me, as I said, if there's a way to keep it where it's at, keep it where it's at. Because we're already number 6 in the county, and in the county that we're paying already high taxes in. So try to, help us. Help us help you. Because as I personally think you guys are doing a wonderful job. I do. So that's why when I saw that you were increasing my taxes, I was like, that's kind of like a like a line item for me. Like, you don't cross that line. To me, a tax increase is like the last resort. That's something you do when the wheels are falling off, you're thinking about laying off people, like things are going really down. That's when you increase the tax. That's to me. And when I read the budget and I see, okay, we're building over here, we have money for new programs over here, I look at that and say, okay, they're spending money. So that means they have money. Or else why would you be spending money? So, as I said, to me, and I know maybe this may go counter to the bigger ideas that you have for 5-10 years down the road, I would like to consider just going through it, making sure it's necessary, because if it's only that $20, it's only a half penny, then you should be able to find it in here. That's just me. So,
I have a,
Yeah, thank you.
Mayor.
Oh, you had a comment?
Yeah.
Commissioner Jennifer has a comment.
why you keep trying to run away? Run away, don't run away yet. No, I wanna say it, we all struggled with, this whole discussion about raising the taxes. And I just think that this is not Mayberry anymore. We are growing. We've got this beautiful senior building that needs to be funded, that residents wanted. And now it's about to be open. We've got to pay staff. We've got the gymnasium that has all of these wonderful programs. And like Commissioner Gomez says, we do not want to cut a single program.
can I speak on that? I'm not saying cut the program. I'm saying maybe you don't need a Valentine's Day party. Maybe we could cut that. Maybe we could cut the.
Do you want to hear from the residents when we do that?
I want to hear I would let them know, hey, because of that, I'm saving you money on your taxes. I would be happy. I would be happy if there was 0 programs, but my tax didn't go up. That's me. You could do a vote. You could do a poll. You could reach out for resident participation. Hey, how much do you care about us, I'm not going to throw out the Christmas tree, but us getting the Christmas tree, or us keeping your tax rate the same. And I'm not, but at least that way you'll know, hey, we have 5,000 residents, 3,000 says go for it, increase the tax, 2,000 said no. You know what I'm saying? There should be a feedback if you want to say, okay, we think you care too much about the parties and the accoutrements to raise your taxes. Personally, I don't. I care about my taxes, I care about my home, I care about my family, I care about my ability to pay for my family and take care of them. That's what I care about. Everything else, I don't care.
I understand.
We get it, we get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just like to say this, and I hear what you're saying, and I hear you're saying a lot about me.
Well,
And
because I can only speak for myself. I don't
do.
represent
I do, but we're here representing a
ward.
city, and I'm here representing, I moved into a community. I bought into a community. I wanted to, when I wake up and I drive around this city every Saturday, I'm proud to live in District Heights as a community. I'm not living on an island. When I come in Christmas Carol, when I come and put up a Christmas tree, when I come to these parties and I commune with my neighbors, that's special to me. There are a lot of single people that live in this city, senior citizens, they don't have families. Some of these things are the only events that they get together to have a sense of community. I'm not taking that away from them. So for me, if it's between raising $20 so that they can have a sense of community, I'm sorry, Ms. Dixon, I'm not taking that away from them. Because, you know, look, when we're building a community for people, and when we take a lot of things into consideration. We look at census data, we look at a whole lot of stuff. As our population ages, there are people, this is the only thing that they have. We built that senior center because we are aging. I'm a single person. So as I age, when I retire, this is going to be where I'm going to age in place. In these Valentine parties and these senior functions, this is going to be my family, my de facto family. And so, you know, I don't have a daughter. I don't have children. So for me to give up $20 so these people can be my family, that's important to me, and that's worth it. So, you know, I'm not going to be selfish and say that $20 is not worth it, and I'm not taking it away from people. So I understand that you're focused about, you know, the $20 for you. Listen, and we.
Well, you're misquoting me, so that's why I wanted to cut in, but I'll let you finish.
We gave scholarships. We gave scholarships to children that your family was a recipient of. I'm not taking that away. We do twice a week garbage pickup that a lot of these places, they don't have. Bowie doesn't have it. Glen Arden doesn't have it. So we have very special things that make District Heights very special. And I think that a lot of people say the $20 is worth it.
Okay.
And so we built these things they built this senior center. We don't have a funding mechanism for this. Our YSB, they just pulled the funding mechanism from it, Ms. Dixon. We don't know how we're gonna fund it. These programs are important.
So, because you said a lot. So the first half of that is us getting together as a group, like we did when we built the first Christmas trees, and we were out there free. That doesn't cost anything. All right?
Amen.
That was free.
Oh, sorry.
And when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking as a homeowner. As a homeowner.
Right.
As somebody that is going to be affected by this tax
We're
increase.
homeowners too.
Congratulations. I'm speaking as a homeowner. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying we cut all the programs. I'm saying you deep dive into the budget. You see where you could cut in the budget. As I said, I just pointed out a couple of things that I just glanced through and said, okay, well, cell phones for $20,000, that seems high. Are you buying new phones? Does everybody get a cell phone? Is it Apple? Is it, like, it bears a question.
Well,
Is that just like the bill?
I think when you're thinking about municipal phones versus personal phones.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand, because it says cell phones,
it-
so.
We pay less than residential phones or personal phones. We pay less because we go by the government rate. But also, we can pick things out all day long
Yeah.
that we want to get rid of. And
that's
we've
okay.
done, and believe me, that's been happening in the past. So that's why we are where we are now. And I think a half a penny up is a step in the right direction to get us that little cushion that we need. So because we don't know what that constant yield rate will be worth. That's the scary part. We don't know if it's gonna go down. We feel like it's gonna go down.
So-
Because mortgage interest rates, where are they? They're sky high right now.
So what I was saying a while back, but this was on social media, our government is not trying to increase our taxes. Maryland is not trying to increase our, everybody's trying to keep it the same because they know right now we're facing harder times.
Yeah,
So I
because
would
they've
hope-
cut a lot of programs. They've cut a lot in order
To maintain.
To maintain. So we're losing a lot, just like we were talking about the Youth Services Bureau, Bill 1136. We, in the last 4 years, we've picked up that budget for the Youth Services Bureau. And when they went to testify on this bill that would give them, the Youth Services Bureau, $200,000 more a year, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. But at the end of the day, our director said if someone comes through that door and needs some mental health services, we can't turn them away. We have to serve them. So we're eating a lot of costs. So to say a half a penny up to really safeguard the Youth Services Bureau, our therapists, so it's not all about a fancy phone, but it's providing services. And we're also going to be adding food giveaways on a regular basis. So if we feel like families need to come and get a box of food, we will have that available. We're working on doing that on a regular basis. Woodland Springs does it every month. And it's not just for Woodland Springs, it's for everybody in this incorporated city to go get some fresh fruits and vegetables. It's for everybody. So there's no shame in any game. If you need it, you need it. But the quality of life, guess what? That's what we're striving for as well.
I think, as I said, personally, I think we have a good quality of life. I think, as I said, a deep dive into the budget may yield the same amount of the increase that you're speaking of. And tying it to the house and tying it to your land means that it's permanent and that 10, 30 years from now, it's going to increase. You know what I'm saying? It's going to add and tack on. It's a permanent thing to me.
Well, that's not our goal.
Well, that's what the proposal is to tie it to the house. So I just hope that you think about it, you
Sure.
reconsider it, you look at it, and you try to find ways to not have to do that.
Yes.
Because as I said, personally for me as a voter, that's a bright line item thing for me. I don't want anyone in office that looks at my situation and honestly, in my opinion, makes it harder.
Yeah.
So,
But
thank
I
you for hearing me
appreciate-
speak. Sorry it took so long. If anybody else wants to speak.
No, it was good conversation. You wanted to say
Yeah,
something?
I just wanted to add a little bit of context because I found some hard numbers on the last 10 fiscal years that we've had for tax yield rates. So we've actually had a 15% decrease in our tax yield rate over the past 10 years. We had a high of 0.879 per $100 of assessed value, and we're at a current low, right, of the 0.687. Additionally, because we talk to other council members on neighboring councils. I talked to, and I think I mentioned this a couple meetings ago, I talked to a council member, a former council member in Cheverly. They were having their discussion on their tax yield rate. They wanted to go up a nickel on every $100 of assessed value. And they had to have that discussion because they had not been increasing their tax yield rate for a number of years. And so I'll leave that where it is. Additionally, I've talked to councilperson at Fairmont Heights. They're having a discussion on similarly, I think 0.6 on the half penny. So above ours. So other municipalities are having similar conversations. We're facing the same type of challenges, right? And holistically, you know, in order for us to be able to move forward and do the things that we say we want to do while we're in office, sometimes that comes with hard decisions of increasing taxes.
Well, good evening.
Well, good evening, Madam
Please
Mayor.
state your name and your
Certainly.
question or your concern.
Good evening, I'm Candace Dubard, I'm on Gateway Boulevard. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, I'm Candace Dubard, I live on Gateway Boulevard. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'm not going to belabor the point because I think the previous speaker did. My concern about this is the notification. So in the Herald, it felt like it was 8 pages back in one little small sentence. In the future, can we be sure that that is the second page informing people? Also, notification to the neighbors. I have elderly neighbors who don't see as well. If there's some way to reach out to them to say, okay, this is what we're considering doing with the budget as well as any tax increases. That's my request, please.
All right, well, thank you so much. You can come up to the podium.
It was for that notification.
Good evening,
Hi, good
Mayor,
evening.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and residents. I'm gonna get off the subject of
State your name.
taxes. Oh, I'm sorry. Johnny Andrews, and I live on Marbury Drive. I myself walked this city and got my neighbors to sign a petition to SHAE, State Highway Administration. And by doing that, I was able to get them to come out 3 times and cut the creek bed. The last time they told me that they were going to come out, they didn't. So I called and I asked what the problem was, and I was told that our city manager, Mr. Street, stopped it because that our Public Works Department would take care of it. Public Works has not touched that creek bed since SHAE stopped. That creek bed has snakes, it has raccoons, it has beavers, it has any kind of rodent you can think of. That creek bed is right in the front of our homes on Marbury Drive, and we're the ones that suffer from it. We get the mosquitoes. We were told that the mosquito control would come through. I've not seen nor heard any mosquito control truck, and we were told that they would come through on Sunday nights. That hasn't happened. So I'm wondering, since you all think that District Heights is so beautiful, why not keep the creek bed, or why did you stop SHAE from doing what you all said you were going to do? Can I get an answer?
Okay, I can take it. Hello, Miss Johnny, good to
Hi.
see you. It is. Can you hear me? No. Hello, can you hear me now? All right. So we had I think that's the Maryland State Department Highway Administration. We had a 7 to 10 year contract with them that ended, so we took over the care and restoration of that area. Pardon?
May I
Can you hear
interrupt?
me? Sure.
If you took over the care of the creek bed, nobody has seen it.
Well, so you and I have a different understanding of care of the creek bed, and I think we've had this discussion a few times over a couple of meetings. There are animals reptiles, whatever that's living down there. We live in a very green area. We have a lot of green space in the city, right? And if we continue to cut that green space, they will continue to come out and come into our yards, right? So if we continue to mow that area down as we have been doing, we will continue to have the same problem over and over again, right? So that is why, and initially, the Maryland State Highway Administration, they recommended that we don't cut it at all because it actually is, it cleans the water that goes into the Chesapeake Bay, right? We had them cut it down because of resident concern. I think the last time they cut it down, it had been growing up for a number of years. It's probably about 4 or 5 feet high, and you could see a lot of wildlife there because that is their habitat. That's where they live. So if the concern is, and I understand, because you don't want rodents in your front yard, you don't want rodents in your backyard, no one wants pests, no one wants bugs, and maybe we can speak to Ms. Washington and DPW to get that schedule for the mosquito cleaning, but we don't want those things. In order for them not to happen, those animals have to have a place to go and live. On District Heights Parkway, where we have the trail and the exercise equipment, that wooded area is the same as the wooded area that is in Marlboro Pike.
No, it's not.
There's also a drain that runs.
No, it's not the same.
Okay, so there it is. It's similar.
It's not.
They have the same drain that runs there as well. And that area has grown up, right? That area is a huge, large wooded area where we don't get resident concern on wildlife escaping or coming into our front yards, right? So in order for that not to happen, they have to have a place to go. And if we continue to cut that area down, they will continue to come out of there and into our yard spaces.
That's the best you can give me?
It's the truth. I mean, I don't know, because if we continue to cut it.
Well, if Shay started it.
They didn't want to start it, Miss Andrews. That's what I'm saying.
But it's been there for 35 years, so somebody wanted to start it.
Yes, but we've learned in that time, right, about our environment and about the climate and wildlife habitats. So what we did 30 years ago, 35 or 40 years ago, changes as we learn more about our environment.
I understand that, but
Right.
it doesn't stop.
So what I'm saying is, the State Highway Committee, they did not want to cut that down at all. They didn't recommend that we cut it at all. We had them cut it because we continue to hear complaints.
I beg to differ, because you keep saying, we had them. Until I got them out there, nobody had gotten them. And when I first moved here, the Public Works was taking care of it, and it was taken care of very nicely.
But it's not a help to our environment. So the reason why they don't want to cut it is because having that wooded area growing up serves a purpose to our environment. It serves a purpose to our waterways, and it serves a purpose to the natural habitat for the animals that live there. And so we cut it down because we're all one community, right? It was cut down because there were complaints from your neighbors and yourself. We cut it down. It continues to grow up, and the animals continue to come out. And so you're having the same issues because that area is still not a habitat for the animals to live in. If animals had a space to live, then they would not be coming out into your yard space, is what I'm saying. So if we continue to cut it, you're going to experience the same issues versus us letting it grow up, and you won't have those issues in the future.
Well, it seems like to me you all are more concerned with the animals' habitat than you are our habitat.
No, I'm concerned with your habitat, right? So if your complaint is that the animals are escaping from that area and coming into the yard, into your yard space and your neighbor's yard space, if we continue to cut that area down, they will continue to come into your yard space. So in order to actually address your complaint, we would have to make sure that they have some place to go, right? So that's what I'm saying, like, I understand your complaint, and we have a difference on what the solution may be,
But
right?
that's yours. No one ever comes to this board, commissioners and the mayor. You all never involve the citizens with very little. You don't come out and talk to us. You won't even have an open meeting for everybody to come and voice their opinion on what is going on in this city.
We have meetings all the time. You're in an
With
open
public
meeting now.
participation.
I'm speaking of a town hall where you can get all of the people to come out. And we've asked for a town hall on several different occasions, and we have yet to have one since before COVID.
We have meetings, 3 meetings a month.
I'm not talking about a meeting, I'm talking about a town hall meeting. There is a difference.
Okay, so what is gonna be our remedy on that creek? Because guess what? We're not the only municipality that's having this problem. All the municipalities
We
that
can't
have
be
it would have to
concerned with
clean.
all of the
I'm
other
just saying the
municipalities when we can't
solutions-
even get
but
our
I'm
own
just saying
straightened out.
The solutions are the same.
Now, what
If
are
you
the
cut it down,
solutions?
if you cut it down, the habitat is gonna come out. We've heard this at MML. Everybody shares the same stories. The residents are not happy, but it's the same solution.
The state recommendation is that you leave the habitat alone. It's a natural habitat, it's supposed to grow up, and it cleans the air, it cleans the water. And we have foxes and all types of animals running around because we are destroying their natural habitat. It adds value to the community, and people don't understand this. We're destroying their natural habitat. Our role is to live together with these things. And people we can't just come in and destroy their natural habitat. I know people have problems with it, but we have to live a different way. We have to live a different way. These habitats have a purpose.
Well, I'm sure if you all lived on Marbury Drive, as and we have to look at this every day. And when you all come down here, you also pass it. Is that looking good to you?
They don't look bad to me, because I
Okay.
understand what they're about. I'm
You
sorry.
okay.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews.
May I say something, Ms. Johnny?
Sure.
So, I just want you to know, we all see it. I don't know whether, because we had a conversation about how far back we wanted to go in terms of cutting it down. I'm not sure if we've started cutting it back, the 13 feet.
Excuse me,
Oh,
someone's
okay.
talking.
So maybe we can take a look, but I think that there is a compromise. I mean, we definitely don't want to go down too far. So you're going to have to see some of that's further down in the creek area, but maybe we can look at that very top of the hill and be able to take and neaten that up a little bit, but still
That
have
would
it.
be helpful, but the only activity the city has taken on that creek bed was when the beavers came up and started eating the trees. And you had to put fences around it.
Well, we have
So,
a
but
brand new Department of Public Works Director, Ms. Washington, and I know that she'll get out there. She gonna knock on your door, Ms. Johnny. And-
Please.
So thank you, we appreciate your comments.
My biggest concern is when they stopped cutting because our city manager told them that our Public Works would take over. Public Works hasn't been nowhere near it. And that's been almost 2 years. So Public Works has not even done what you told Shay that our Public Works would do.
Last winter.
We'll take a look at it. Ms. Washington will be in touch.
All right, thank you, Ms. Andrews, for your concerns. Okay. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, I thought it was white.
Ladies first. So we're gonna close the public participation, and then we're gonna go back into the, budget hearing, and, I'm gonna let, Katrina Emerson go first, ladies first. Youth Services Bureau.
Wow. All right.
It does.
Good evening, Mayor Miller, Vice Mayor Harcourt, Commissioners Jennifer, Tillman, and Gomez, and city residents. I am here to present the proposal. Kind of scared because y'all, woo, Lord Jesus. To present the proposal for the Youth Services Bureau for fiscal year '25. And our biggest thing, I know you guys have it in front of you, our biggest issue, of course, is that we are, as a staff, we are overloaded. We are seeing clients, and it just highlights what the young lady was saying earlier. Our population primarily is 60% individuals in poverty. Our primary population ages 2 to 19. They are low to very low income. And so therapy is a luxury to them. And our families are struggling, and so they don't see therapy as an option. Sometimes they don't realize the Youth Service Bureau is there until somebody is in crisis, and we are trying our best to make sure that our families are not in that situation. If we can get to them ahead of time, it's the best thing for them. That's why we do have a clinician in the schools that is providing those services, in addition to seeing clients in the evenings, so at the Bureau throughout the week. So my purpose here is, of course, to increase our part-time position to a full-time therapist position so that we can have another person on staff, and then additional clinical therapists. So it would total out our clinicians available to provide services, in addition to myself providing those services, to a total of 4, not including myself. Because in addition to that, we do have clinical interns, and with their training, they're at no cost to us. We're using our licenses to provide those training services so that they can move towards licensure within the county. So it's just going to help us deliver individual, group, and family mental behavioral health services. In 2020, we started seeing adults between the hours of 10 and 2. A lot of our adults are seen virtually. Some of them do come into the building. It was just a need that was increased because people were overwhelmed, and they still are overwhelmed. We're noticing what's happening in this community, and people are reaching out. We're noticing by increasing those services in the school, we actually have one of our full-time clinicians, she's joining the therapist that's in the school, providing girls groups, and all of the services outside of our direct services to the community are at no cost. The family engagement groups, the parent support groups, the therapists in the school, those families do not pay for services. So our budget primarily is to support our staff and the delivery of services for our programming. Any questions? I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because everything is here and I don't want to take up too much time.
Sure. Any questions from the commission?
I'm good.
I just have one question.
Sure.
On where so I know we've been talking about bringing on a contractor therapist, because I see that we do have a pretty high therapist to client ratio,
Yes.
as you mentioned. So have we been able to onboard a?
So we are interviewing for clinicians right now, so that would take that 4th position. And having that clinician, that would drop our waiting list down, and it would allow us to be out in the community more. We do 10 events. There's still events that we still have to turn down, because when people realize you have a therapist available, can you show up? Can you talk to our kids? Can you talk to this church? Can you talk to this organization? We do not want to say no to anybody, because mental health is basically part of your overall wellness and overall well-being. And so if we can help, our job is to serve. We have the heart of a servant. I always say that, is that we want this community to thrive. Even though some of us may not live in this community, we are part of this community. We serve your residents, we serve your neighbors. We reach out if somebody's calling, somebody needs to talk to someone. We do not turn anybody away. We will answer the call, and if we miss the call, we'll follow up. So having an extra clinician allows, one, a therapist to be available more days out of the week to be able to serve Because a lot of us, our clinicians, not including the groups that we serve, are seeing 15 to 20 clients a week. And so bringing another therapist on actually drops our waiting list down. It allows people to come in contact with a therapist, because one contact with a therapist makes a world of difference for some of these residents, no matter what their age. Any other questions?
Any other questions from the commission? Well, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, residents. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Jeffrey Taylor, Recreation.
All right. Good evening, Mayor Miller, Vice Mayor Harcourt, Commissioner Gomez, Commissioner Tillman, Commissioner Janifer, City Clerk, City Manager, of course, our residents. Good to see everyone. I'm going to go over the FY 2025 proposed budget for recreation and culture. I hope everyone, if you're interested, can read along with me. I love to share and be as transparent as possible. The proposed organizational chart is just adding a part-time to a full-time position because our programming and operating systems are expanding and evolving. And I'll go into a little bit more detail as I go through the rest of the budget. Before I begin, I kind of want to share something that may help, but I kind of want to share that you want to maintain your events and activities here in your city. I look at it as an indirect cost benefit for residents. And this is what I mean by that. We have a lot of non-residents attend these events. That gives your city an opportunity to promote your beautiful city. They drive around. They also spend money in your business district, and that is like an indirect cost benefit that you guys may want to consider when you're talking about the events and activities, along with some of the things that Vice Mayor shared in regards to family and your neighbors. As I move down to the budget, I am going through the program recreation services section. And if you look and see that we have, of course, our standard health and wellness programs, but we're adding several revenue opportunities and service opportunities. So those are our facility rentals are also expanding into court rentals that we'll provide. And we're also looking at connecting with county and state partnerships so that they can do facility rentals during the day as well, so that they can do conferences, they can do meetings, meetups, etc. We also have included a new workforce development center. And when you consider a lot of the programmings that we're adding, not only do they have to be manned, but they also have a service element that you need staffing inside to, of course, service the residents and guests that attend these programs and services. Your Workforce Development Center is going to be something that also drives traffic to your city. And this workforce development opportunity, of course, will service not only your youth, but also your job seekers. And then thinking about your business district again, the workforce development structure also includes a business services element where if you're a small business owner or if you own any of the businesses on Marlboro Pike, then those businesses will be able to recruit. They can connect with us and recruit from within the city, as well as post job listings and also provide services such as job training for the residents here in the city of District Heights. Along with the Workforce Development Center, we also are adding a membership element to our recreation department, and that will also include a small service charge for residents and non-residents, and also increase the safety of the access to the facility here. Youth sports is another element that we're adding. We're adding youth sports as well as adult sports. And we're also adding personal training and group exercise classes in the afternoons as well. Moving into the cultural services, of course, we have our city events, holiday and cultural programs, community outreach and partnerships. Some of our city events has a cost to them as well. So they, of course, help to generate revenue. And moving into that was page 19, moving to page 20, we just pretty much have the expenditures. Our expenditures are actually pretty similar to pre-pandemic time, so we're not actually increasing your expenditures, we're just resetting. During the pandemic, we actually decreased our staff to save on costs, and we're just putting that back because of the expansion of our programs and services. Along with programs and services, we're also, as you see, if you look at departmental revenue, we're already looking forward to that FY '25 revenue of 80,000. I look at that as a very nice challenge, and those targets are something that we're definitely set up to hit those targets. And last but not least, our proposed performance metrics at the bottom. If you look at it, our annual health and wellness class attendance, and then also our number of open gym memberships will be coming online in FY 2025, as well as our number of planned events and major city events, and our facility rentals, all included into the metrics of recreation. I want to end by saying if there are any questions, I have no problem meeting with you guys. Please come see me. Don't just use this meeting to share your concerns or opinions. I would love for you to come downstairs and I'll give you a tour, spend some time with you. You can ask all the questions you want. I'll be happy to answer them. And I think I actually can, share, again, that indirect cost benefit to the city, to your city. That concludes my proposed budget for FY 2025. And like I stated to the residents, any questions, I'll be happy to answer or manage through the process. I thank you guys for your time.
Do we have any questions from the commission?
That looks good.
So a comment.
Sure, Commissioner Tillman?
Just want to say thank you for mentioning our brand-new workforce development. We just had our grand open this morning, and it turned out really amazing. So everybody, please go downstairs and take a look at that space. It's very nice. It's amazing. I just want to say that's it. Thank you.
I want to piggyback and say, this is what I mean by needs and services and indirect cost benefits to a lot of the things that we do here. The event ended probably around 12. We had 5 people waiting to sign up and register for jobs. So as soon as it opened, that need was being served. So we're going to grow that and continue to grow that over time. And I just wanted to share that because that was such a great thing that happened today.
Yeah, it was.
And that's just from people hearing about it opening. And so just imagine where we're evolving towards moving forward. I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, a lot of people complain that the travel time to Largo and Allentown Road, and so this is much closer for them. So we are going to just fill a lot of needs and making people feel comfortable about applying for jobs. But thank you for that. Any other questions from the commission?
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. So at this time, we're going to have our city attorney, Bradley Ferrara, to come up and just, oh, you have to speak? Okay.
Hello, everyone. Hello, residents. Honorable Mayor Miller, Vice Mayor Harcourt, and esteemed commissions. Gomez, Jennifer, and Tillman. Today, we present a concise overview of the fiscal projections and operational strategies for the Department of Public Works for the City of District Heights. As stewards of our community resources, it's crucial to ensure transparent and efficient management of public funds while delivering essential services to our residents. With our guidance and support, we endeavor to optimize our department's performance to meet the evolving needs of the city. We appreciate your attention and collaboration as we work towards a prosperous future for the City of District Heights. The department responsibilities. I'm going to give you a summary as we go through each part in the budget, which is on page 22, I believe? No. 23, I'm sorry, 23. Department responsibilities are to manage solid waste management, street and sidewalk maintenance, building and grounds upkeep, fleet management, seasonal collections, trim limb program, and signage. Proposed organizational chart. Structure includes the director, assistant director, crew leaders, and team members, and other staff positions. Number 3, which is the program structure, if you look over at that. The streets and sidewalks, streets and paving maintenance, sweeping curbs and sidewalk upkeep, and alley maintenance. Green space and landscaping, seasonal leaf and limb collection, public ground maintenance, and solid waste collection recycling. Buildings and facilities is indoor and outdoor facility maintenance. Now on to the good stuff, the projected budget. Expenditures for personnel costs are about $729,415. Operating and maintenance is $500,029.500. Capital expenses are at 0. Total expenditures is 1.258. And I'll give a detailed number, as you can see on the page as well. Departmental revenue projected at $175,000. The net budget impact is estimated at $1.083 million. The department FTE is 11.5 full-time equivalent positions. The expenditure breakdown covers payroll, taxes, dues, travels, supplies, contractual and professional services, clothing, uniform, fees, and maintenance. The proposed performance matrix, work order request logged so far, that's where we're being measured as, have been 387.4. Work orders requested closed within 5 business days have been at a rate of 18.83%. Leaf and limb pickup collections have been completed on the scheduled day at 75%. Annual tonnage of solid waste collected is 5,000,000.13. That's a lot. Complaint resonates for missed trash recycling is about 1.5 per 1,000 residents, which we plan on decreasing if you look at our future numbers. Revenue attributions, starting at FY25, 20% of SHA funding and county landfill fee offsets attributed to DPW and street and roadway maintenance costs. Data inclusion, performance metrics, data includes records from November 2023 and onwards, only because we've just started utilizing the Monday app to kind of track our work orders as well, hence the date. But I also wanted to get in a couple of the benefits of this budget, of the proposed budget. Improved infrastructure. We will get regular street paving, maintenance, and sidewalk repairs, enhance the safety and the aesthetics of the neighborhoods, making them more attractive and also more accessible. A cleaner environment, enhance public spaces. If you all have noticed too as well, even with the opening of the Work Development Enforcement Center, that is one of the projects that we also worked on too, as far as enhancing the space as well. And we look forward to doing that at our clock, Veterans Parkway, and a lot of other areas too as well. Efficient service delivery. I would like to do more of a timely closure in work orders, so possibly getting the work orders processed a lot faster. Increase property values. Well-maintained streets, sidewalks, and public spaces can positively impact property values in the community, benefiting homeowners and contributing to overall economic stability. Community engagement. opportunities for residents to participate in programs such as tree planting initiatives, the sustainability initiatives that we have too as well. And sustainable practices goes right into that. Responsive customer service, I look to definitely make sure to show up. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you need anything addressed, I usually like to do a little research too as well. I'm super accessible. Feel free to call me, send me an email, and I will make myself available. Now, give me like a day or two to respond to emails. However, picking up the phone, I'm pretty accessible. I would like to have safe and well-maintained facilities, and also provide educational opportunities like for our teen programs, along with our staffing as well, and our residents. To me, that's really important, so we can do like educational workshops on how to save for energy and things like that as well. So we are looking into those resources, and these benefits collectively contribute to a contributing and thriving city. So I look forward to being a part of that, and that will conclude my summary of our proposed budget.
Thank you, Ms. Washington. Any comments from the commission?
Yes, I have a question.
Commissioner Gomez?
Thank you, Ms. Washington, for this comprehensive report. I had a question on the departmental revenue. So I'm seeing that we have a projected FY25 revenue of $175,000. But when I look back at FY22 through FY24, we had, roughly, $50,000 to $100,000 more in departmental revenue. Can you just share why there's a discrepancy between, or there's a decrease in revenue between this year and last?
Okay, sure. Go ahead. But I
If it's the
support.
mayor's pleasure, I can take this question.
Sure.
So the departmental revenue is important to focus on for Public Works because of how it,
We can't hear you.
because of how it had been attributed previously. So what this budget does is takes a specific percentage of the state highway administration funding. A percentage of it goes to Public Works, which is part of the 175 that you see in FY25 proposed. The balance goes into the capital improvement program for a recurring street paving project.
Yes.
The prior year departmental revenue, particularly from FY23 and FY22, assumes that the full SHA amount offset Public Works operating budget.
Gotcha.
Right, so the SHA funding are restricted funds and can only be used for street and mobility improvement projects, right? And so that change is this budget's attempt to show where that money went over time, instead of lumping it into the general fund to be spent on whatever.
Yeah.
And so the reduction is a reduction in terms of absolute numbers, but is actually more in terms of what's being attributed to Public Works and their activities.
Okay, thank you, that makes sense. So the 80%, so 20% is reflected here. The 80% went to the capital improvement programs. Okay,
Yes, that makes sense.
great, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now we have Bradley for our city attorney.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, to the Vice Mayor, distinguished commissioners of the city of District Heights. It's good to be with you this evening. It's a beautiful evening. I've been asked to talk about a couple of things really quickly, and I'll just do some highlights. The first is I want to talk a little bit about the Ethics Commission and the bylaws. I will note that I've had an opportunity to review them. There are a few places where the bylaws are incongruous with the city's ordinance, the city's ethics ordinance, specifically as it relates to the alternate. If you look at Division 2 of the city's ordinance, the powers of the alternate are to only serve when there is no quorum. Here in the bylaws as presented, They seek to provide the alternate powers that go beyond that to make them almost a de facto member of the commission, where the ordinance actually is clear and unambiguous that the alternate is to serve only when there is no quorum present. I would also note that the city has spent considerable time and resources as it relates to creating an ordinance. The ordinance is clear, that says that the Ethics Commission is to promulgate rules. The bylaws is, the promulgation of these bylaws is incongruous with the promulgation of rules. My preference actually would be, and this is my personal preference, would be to, one, promulgate rules, to have the Ethics Commission promulgate rules, and then to have those rules codified into the city's ordinance. Many of these bylaws can actually be promulgated into the city's ordinance, and I think it would be more appropriate to do that, to make them a part of the city's ordinance. And that's just the highlight on the commission's bylaws. As it relates to what was propounded by the Charter Committee, I would just point out just a couple things I think that is important for the commission to note, that the language with respect to the mayor's ability to participate in discussion, but to only vote in case of a tie. There are other municipalities within Prince George's County, one of which I do represent, that becomes problematic for a number of reasons, particularly in the absence of the mayor. When the mayor is not there, and then the vice mayor or has to step in, or the mayor pro tem, what then happens is the mayor pro tem then also takes the powers of the mayor and the restrictions of the mayor. And so you have a commission of 5. So then if you're down to 4 members already, then the vice mayor who steps in no longer has the power to vote in order to move forward on either an ordinance or a resolution. So it becomes problematic. I think it's something that, that needs to probably go back and be reconsidered and thought about, given very careful thought about that. There are a number of other areas in here that are in conflict with one another, particularly with requirements to meetings. So, for example, there's a requirement that you have 1 meeting and 2 work sessions a month, and then there's another place that says you have to have 2 meetings per month. So I think there needs to be a scrub of this to make sure that it's internally consistent, and also that be mindful of the language which requires you to have a public session or a public open meeting where members of the community can address the commission. It's restated throughout the proposed changes, and it may be superfluous to have it restated multiple times. As it is in the current charter as well as in the ordinance, and specifically in the commission's rules of procedure, you have it stated that you have to allow public comment, period, in all of your meetings. And I think it's the commission's and the city's desire to allow public participation, but it may be superfluous to say it multiple times. So with that, unless there are specific questions for you, that's the breadth and depth of my testimony this evening.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, any question or comments from the commission?
So in regards to the text about the mayor's voting,
Yes.
is there like an alternate text or thing that you would add?
An alternative, I would say, again, I don't have a dog in the fight, but what I'm suggesting to the commission as well as to the citizens who are here in the room or maybe watching via YouTube, you have to be very, very careful, because having that language as is proposed actually could cause gridlock in the city and not allow the commission or the city to enact ordinances, adopt budgets, pass resolutions that are necessary, particularly in the instance where, one of the commissions, you're no longer a 5-member commission, someone may be out sick, someone may be on travel, so now you're down to 4. And if it's the mayor that's out, and then the vice mayor comes in, you have a 4-member commission, and you're saying the mayor can only vote in the instance of a tie, you may not have a tie. You may only have 3 commissioners. So it becomes problematic. So I've seen it firsthand where it's created gridlock.
And if I may?
Sure.
Because effectively, we are not in a strong mayor setup.
Right.
So I could see if it was that way, but our mayor is effectively another commissioner.
Right. That's currently, that's what the charter has the mayor, is just another commissioner.
Right.
And they can vote.
Right, so
Exactly.
I don't understand, right, so that's always confused me, why our mayor would not be able to vote.
Right. And again, in other municipalities, their council they have more members. And so the likelihood of the mayor not being there and there being a tie, it's smaller, but it still lends itself to gridlock. And so that, again, I just wanted to bring that to the commission and the citizens' attention.
Right, and it would also make sense why we have 5, why we
Right.
have an odd number.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Okay.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam.
Bradley? Okay. Is there anything else we need to address? Before? Any announcements? Oh, well, we're gonna talk about the senior center. Wow. Yes. We have our certificate of occupancy at this point. It's been a long time coming. We are gonna have our grand opening on May 4th, 11:30 a.m. If you can make it, come out. And then, of course, we have our luncheon for our 2 senior committees tomorrow, and they will have a tour and lunch and some conversation. So anything else we want to add? Of course, we have District Heights Day. Do you want to speak on District Heights Day? Would you like to speak on District Heights Day? Commissioner Tillman?
Oh, June 1st, come on through, same bat time, but different places right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we will have a shuttle service at St. Paul, and we will be shuttling you up to this point because we anticipate overload on parking, so we don't want that to happen. Any other announcements?
Yes, this Saturday, we have our Community Cleanup Day, starting at 8 a.m. here at the Municipal Building. So Senator Nick Charles, Councilwoman Oriada, and Councilwoman Bilgay were out on the Pike last week. So we may target a different area for cleanup. So come out if you just want to make sure that your community looks good. We'll be out there at 8 a.m. And I'll just say that last Saturday, we had our invasive species removal event, which was very informative.
Yes,
We learned a lot about English ivy and native invasive vines that are growing all around the city, and we were able to target the area in the lower parking lot to the right of the pedestrian bridge with some removal of some invasive vines. We also cleaned up a ton of bottles and all types of trash, and we had a shopping cart that had a tree growing out of it that we had to pull out. So it was very successful, very educational. We definitely want to do something like that again in the future. But if you missed that, we have the cleanup coming up this Saturday morning. Here.
Yes. Any other comments?
Yes.
Okay.
So one thing that I did learn about Saturday is there's an app. It's called iNaturalist that you can actually look up plants and it tells you about the plant. So it's actually a really good app. So if you check it out, if you're an app person, just download it. It's called iNaturalist. And I learned about it on Saturday. And it's really good. You can identify different types of plants and it kind of, learn about how to help them grow and, all that good stuff.
With that, could I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I, Commissioner Jennifer, move that we adjourn the meeting.
Could I get a second?
Commissioner Tillman, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Yes.
I was like, well, how do you know if you
Yeah, well, if I was down a little bit, because I learned about it on Saturday. So it's pretty nice. You take a picture of the plant, you can like compare it.